kanji characters carved into it that say, from the top down, Senjinggang. So this literally means, translated directly, very big rock.
Hey everybody, welcome to Small Talk Japan. On this show, we talk about all things Japan in English. My name is Mitch, these are my co-hosts.
Natsuki!
And Alex, hey, what's up?
What's up?
Hello.
And today, we actually have a very special episode. Today, we're going to go on a tour of Sengan-en, and the person who's going to take us on that tour is actually Alex.
Alex.
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
Wow.
So we're going to magically fly to Sengan-en.
How does this work?
Well, that guy's going to push the buttons.
Okay.
Go for it.
Hello and welcome to
Whoa.
the Sengan-en, the stately home and gardens of the Shimazu clan right here in Kagoshima City. As you can see behind me, we've got the lovely Kinko Bay, or Kagoshima Bay as it's sometimes called, an active volcano, Sakurajima there in the background, kind of puffing away. There's a little bit of smoke coming out of it at the moment. Hopefully, while I'm showing you around the gardens today, it might erupt. We never know. Can't control it, unfortunately. But before we start this little tour of Sengan-en, maybe I should introduce what the gardens are. They were built in 1658 by the 18th generation head of the Shimazu clan, Shimazu
How do you keep all this
Mitsuhisa.
information in your head?
And the gardens
Remember it.
incorporate the background of Kinko Bay and Sakurajima into the foreground of the garden. So this kind of feudal lord's garden was built at a time when the Warring States period, the samurai lords all fighting with each other, had just ended. And it was a time of peace across Japan. Because of that, the feudal lords had much more time and money to spend, and they built luxurious gardens like this to show their high level of status and culture to lords from other domains. And the Shimazu family built this one in 1658 on this spot right here. Okay, so we're going to take a quick walk around the grounds here at Sengan-en for about 20 minutes or so and have a look at some of the features in the gardens. We can't cover everything today, but it'll give you a good overview of Sengan-en should you decide to come and visit. Sengan-en has lots of beautiful scenes around the grounds. This is just one of them. This is the pond in front of the main house. And as you can see, it's got some nice little bridges and lanterns and things like that. The main thing about a Japanese garden really to look at are the trees, the rocks, and water as well. So no matter where you go in the gardens, you can always hear running water somewhere in the background. And it has a very kind of calming and relaxing effect. So let's take a stroll over the pond and round to the back side of the garden. So follow me. The grounds here are very, very large, and it takes a huge team of gardeners to keep them looking this beautiful for the guests and visitors that come here all through the year. And actually, we've just come across one of our gardeners hard at work here, taking care of the pine trees in the garden. So let's just ask him what he's up to. お疲れ様です。こんにちは。何をされてますか？
これはですね、いつもこの季節6月ぐらいには新しく伸びた芽が、いっぱい伸びすぎないように、整備をそういった作業です。
So every June, they come around the gardens and cut the new growths off these pine trees so they don't grow too large and kind of ruin the shape of the tree. So もうこの1本で何時間かかりますか？その全ての作業を終わらせるの。
2人で1日。
So it takes two gardeners one whole day just to do one tree of this size. So it's a huge amount of work. で、園内に何本ありますか、この木は？
この木がここだけで約80本。
So about 180 trees in the gardens as well. So you can imagine how much time it takes to make them look this lovely. お疲れ様です。すいません。お邪魔します。
Yeah, like, dude, it takes one day.
Wow.
Just for one tree.
180 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many gardeners are actually in the garden?
I think it's about 20 to 30.
Yeah.
Depends, on the season. But yeah. something like that. But a team of about 30 people.
When we
together.
were filming this there were some actually young guys that were the gardeners too.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of stamina.
Yeah.
You've got to be out there all day. Kagoshima gets really hot in the summer.
How hot does it get? It's like 32 or 3.
Whatever 30s, yeah. I mean, they
Yeah.
have these like jackets with fans in that blow hot air, blow cold air in. Maybe I don't know which way it
It
works.
cools them off.
Yeah. But if they don't do stuff like that, it's dangerous, being
Yeah.
outside that long. But they get used to it, they do a lot of work. And then the senior guys, the older guys teach the younger guys how to do it on site. So, it's a very challenging job.
The pond that was right next to that gardener, it has koi in it, but for some reason they're not like when I imagine koi, like the goldfish colors, but they're kind of black.
Yeah, the black ones, yeah. So they're like called Nihongoi. The colorful ones are called Nishikigoi. And they were kind of bred in the Meiji period, which is like the 1800s, late 1800s. So they're not really historically accurate for that kind of garden.
So they're too new.
Too new, yeah, too modern. So we've gone for the kind of traditional ones to try and keep it, historically accurate to the period it was built.
Oh, I see. I thought the koi, the fish, is very old.
If only. They're really expensive,
Yeah,
Really, really
maybe. I
expensive,
guess
yeah.
so.
There's a next to the pond. There's a turtle like statue.
Yeah, like a rock, yeah.
Yeah. What is this? Just a natural formed rock?
So it's a natural rock. It's like pumice from the volcano.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's porous. It's got holes in it. And like Japanese gardens, they tend to use like shaped rocks or lanterns to look like animals or, fantastical beings or beasts or whatever. So it's like you have to use your imagination on the canvas of the garden to make it kind of come to life. So if you know how to look at it, you can see a lot of hidden kind of secret elements that people might not be able to see first time they came to visit,
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next part of the garden tour.
Okay, we've come round to the back part of the gardens here at Sengan-en. It's an area slightly less visited by people coming to the gardens, but nonetheless, certainly worth having a look at. There's a shrine here called the Oniwa Shrine, and actually it contains gods, kami, from 13 different residences that the Shimazu family lived in, and they're all put together into one super shrine right here in the gardens. So our gardeners think this is the luckiest place to pray in the whole of Kagoshima, and if there's something they want to be successful at or something they want to come true, they'll come here and pray to the gods in the shrine. So we're going to go and do that now. So follow me up the stairs and I'll show you how to pray at a Shinto shrine.
You can hear water. So yeah, I guess wherever you are, you can hear water.
Yeah, it's relaxing, right? In the background. Natsuki, do you know how to pray at a Shinto shrine? So you can see just behind me we have a torii, which is a shrine gate. And from that there's a shiminawa, this kind of rope hanging down as well. And this gate separates the world of the gods, the world of the kami, from the world of men. And we're going to go through that now and into the sacred area of the shrine. So when we go through the gate, we need to bow. So watch this, we go up. Try not to go down the middle. Stay to one side and bow when you walk in.
Natsuki learned so many things on this show.
So the first place we need to go when we come into the shrine is the temizuya. So this is where you can wash your hands and purify your body. Okay, so left hand first, and then your right hand, and then you bring some water up to your mouth. You don't have to drink it to show you've purified your body before going to visit the shrine. So the one thing you will need if you want to come and pray at a shrine is a coin to offer to the kami in the shrine. I've got a 10 yen coin here, 5 yen's fine, 50 yen, 100 yen, doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. So what we do is go up to the shrine itself and throw the money in, and then bow twice,
Beautiful bow.
and then clap twice, and pray, and then bow once again at the end.
Natsuki, you know this, right?
I do.
You do.
I always copy in front of me.
Yeah.
In front of me.
Do you know at some shrines they have a camera on
Right.
top of the donation box place?
Yeah.
And the priest of one of Japan's most famous shrines told me he likes to watch it to see if people do it right or not.
Really?
So he's actually sat watching the camera.
Just seeing the people bow.
Yeah, and he goes, most people don't do it right. So
I think Natsuki says it right. Like when I first did it, for a while, like I would just watch what the people in front do. And like,
Yeah.
I guess that's what we have to do. Just copy
Yeah.
them.
that's the best thing to do, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to actually, when you clap and pray, you're supposed to say your full address. Did you know that?
Oh.
In your head.
Yeah,
Not
you're-
say it out loud.
A lot of people do that, and some people even do weirder things. Like they say, like they think about their date of birth and all that other stuff.
Oh, really?
So like God knows exactly who
Right,
he's got a
right,
reward.
I want to send him a link on Google Maps. You know what I mean? That'd be,
Your coordinates.
My coordinates are this. Yeah, just remember the coordinate URL.
Can you talk about that shrine a little bit, because it's actually very special because there was a landslide.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
So Natsuki, you'll remember the landslide, right? Hachirokusuga Garden?
Yeah, when I was like 9 years old. Yeah, the place around Sengan-en was very
Flooded.
flooded.
Yeah.
So there's a big landslide that knocked down the kind of bamboo grove there and destroyed a lot of the Kyokusui Garden, the kind of winding stream garden we've got as well. And that shrine was the only place that was left completely undamaged.
Yeah.
Oh,
So actually it was like an island around it,
wow.
just with a shrine in the middle.
So it looks very ominous, like God protected it.
Yeah.
So the
Wow.
gardeners think that's the luckiest spot to pray at in Kagoshima because of
Wow.
that. And if you look at the wall actually behind the shrine, you can see the old wall, which has got lots of moss on it. And then the wall that was built around that time on either side is brand new.
He pointed this out to us. It was crazy. It's like, you know how when you play a video game, if there's like a secret behind a wall or something,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like different looking. That's what it looks like. It's like, here's the mossy wall where it was protected, and then here's the new stuff that was damaged and destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just right behind the shrine too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just wow, no damage on that area.
Just that area.
Oh.
So you were just talking about the river. So I think that's the next stop on our tour that you take us to.
Okay, we're here at the Kyokusui Garden, the back part of Sengan-en. As you can see behind me, there's a lovely little winding stream meandering through this peaceful garden. And here, every April, we hold a festival called Kyokusui no En. Participants here will take a first sip of sake as the cup floats down the river, and they will be inspired to write a poem. The poem itself is called a tanka. So a tanka is a poem with 57577 syllables, so longer than a haiku, and usually about some kind of personal experience or a pre-decided theme. So the tanka for this particular event are decided in advance. There's a title that you have to write your poems about, and everybody kind of riffs on that theme and writes their own poem as well. So nowadays it's very difficult for people to write it, off the top of their head, so they usually prepare it in advance, and then it's actually written out on the day of the event.
Alex, can you tell us, you did this event right one time?
Yeah, I was the first foreigner to ever do this in the
Cool.
whole history of the event.
Really? The
Yeah.
very first?
You
Yeah.
dress like that.
Yeah, I wore hitatare, the kimono thing with the hat.
With the
on.
hat, yeah.
Iboshi, yeah.
Cool.
I've actually seen pictures of it, and you looked cool.
Yeah, I practiced a lot for that event though. Like I didn't just do it.
Do you remember what you wrote? You can say it in English.
Hold on a sec. I'll try and remember it in Japanese first. So it's Dainichi shi jissho wo katate ni nihongo wo manabishi hibi wo ima natsukashimu.
Oh, 来日しね。はあはあ
Okay, so translate for our audience.
So it's like when I came back to remembering the days when I came to Japan with a dictionary in one hand, and kind of thinking back to those in a fond way.
No, there's like a theme for every year, right?
Yeah, so the theme was book for that.
Yeah, it was book.
Hong, yeah. So
Every year?
No,
it
just that
changes
year.
every year.
Ah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I thought, what kind of book? I thought a dictionary is a book, right?
Yeah.
But apparently it's not, according to their rules. So it was hansoku, which is like a rule-breaking poem, which is no good.
Uh-oh.
But they said it's all right because you wrote it and spent a long time thinking about it. So
Is it actual sake that you drink?
yeah, it's sake. So it's in Kagoshima, it's shochu.
They give you shochu.
Yeah. So people have a quick sip of shochu, get inspired by the surroundings, and then you have to start the poem writing.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like a rich people's play. You know?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
always say it's like
Yeah.
rich people's drinking game.
Yeah.
It's like fancy beer pong.
Can you
Fancy beer fun.
can you talk about the MC to that event?
So yeah, the guy who reads the poems out comes from an organization that is in charge of kind of imperial protocol. So they look after the manners at the
Emperor and stuff
emperor
like that.
and things like that. So a lot of the embassies in Tokyo and things like that, when they go and meet the emperor, the new ambassadors, they'll go to his place to learn how to bow properly and how to approach them and that kind of etiquette as well. So he actually also reads the poems for the emperor's poetry gatherings as well. So, it's a very, very kind of official event. It's like the real deal for Japanese culture. It's not something that's kind of made up as an attraction.
Yeah.
So,
authentic culture.
Yeah, with that in mind, I practiced writing. I must have written it over 1,000 times, the poem.
Were you nervous when you wrote it?
Yeah, really nervous, shaking with the brush. And the paper kind of like falls away from you like that 'cause it's just literally paper.
Yeah.
And you have to hold it up in one hand with a brush like this in the air.
Like a shuji style.
Not even, Shuji's put on the desk, so it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I mean like blush and ink. And
Brush and ink,
Oh.
But instead of having it on the desk here, it's in the air. You have to hold it up in the air like this.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
So difficult.
Even me, like probably I write like a snake
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, like Japanese calligraphy is probably my like weakest point of Japanese culture. Like I suck so bad at it.
Yeah, it's tough, man, but it's kind of rewarding if you stick with it and go through it. I've not done it for a while now, though. So
Like I'll make kanji and I'm like, it's the best one I've ever made. And I'll show it to the sensei.
it's like,
It's no good.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? They're like, they say all these things. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying.
yeah. Don't write on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spend ages doing that.
All right, guys. Let's go on to the next stop.
All right, we've come up the hiking course at the back of Sengan about halfway to have a look at this. Behind me, this gigantic rock with 3 huge kanji characters carved into it that say, from the top down, Senjinggang. So Sen means 1,000. Jin means a measure of about 6 feet, means like a big guy with his arms outstretched. And Gan means rock. So this literally means, translated directly, very big rock. And it was built in the early 1800s. So 3,900 people built a scaffold up to the rock face, carved out the characters by hand, and then dyed it white using crushed seashells. The reason it was built is because the Lord Shimazu Narioki wanted to stimulate jobs in the local economy and give people work to do. Also, using foreign culture like this is actually something you won't see in Japanese gardens anywhere else. It's Chinese culture. Showed that the Shimazu were a very high-cultured and international family as well. So next time you come to Sengan, have a look up on the mountain and see if you can see Senjinggang. Okay, we've come down the mountain hiking course now and finished our little tour of Sengan for today. I hope you enjoyed looking at some of the beautiful gardens. Today we didn't get to go in the house. Maybe in the future we can go and have a look at that at some point as well. So to finish with, take a look across the beautiful Kagoshima Bay towards Sakurajima and over the Shimazu family house as well.
We had perfect weather that day.
Yeah, it was a lovely day.
Yeah. That rock, that's not Japanese culture.
Not really, no. I mean, it's like a Chinese kind of thing to carve characters into rock faces and, next to waterfalls and things like that. You see it quite a lot in China,
Yeah.
but not really in Japan. So it's kind of unusual. There's a lot of Chinese influence in Kagoshima, though, as well, from, not only just things like that, like arc type stuff, also the food.
Yeah.
Lots of pork,
Yeah.
eating meat and things like that. Yeah.
How long did it take them to get up there and paint that?
I think it's about 6 months to do the whole thing.
Months.
Yeah.
To write very big rock on a rock.
Very big rock on top of a rock, yeah.
Can you imagine how did they do? Because they have no hashigo. Hashigo, how do you say that?
So no
Scaffolding?
No, they had a scaffolding.
Oh,
but-
do they?
Yeah.
Made from bamboo, right?
They made it, from the bottom all the way up.
If you go to like Taiwan, maybe not Taiwan, Hong Kong and stuff like
Hong
that,
Kong,
they
yeah.
make scaffolding still out of bamboo sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, not
Oh.
steel.
But like long one, right?
Yeah, not so long because it's weak if it's too long, right?
Oh.
But yeah.
Yeah. But I actually climbed to the top of that not long ago
Wow.
with our gardeners because they sometimes have to go up to clear the kind of grass away from the side and things like that.
From the actual rock.
Yeah.
Uh.
And it's pretty scary.
At that time, how did you climb up? How did
So
you
we
do?
actually went up a mountain trail
Mm-hmm.
and then we cut across through the forest and then down to the top instead of climbing straight up it.
I
But
see.
we have to use climbing ropes and protective equipment as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Normally, to get up to that, on top of that hill, we have to drive in a big circle that takes about 25 minutes, right?
Yeah.
To go through a tunnel up the back of the mountain, and it's actually near where you live.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then just going to Sengan-en, which is just down the hill, you have to drive, like I said, 40 minutes to get there.
You can actually walk.
Really?
But, yeah, it's not open to the public. There's an old path
To get up there.
that still exists, yeah. But it's very difficult to find, and it's quite dangerous as well.
That's why it's not open.
So it's not open at the moment.
I mean, every day I've been inside your offices before, and every day you and your coworkers get to enjoy the beautiful view of Sakurajima, the beautiful the serenity of the gardens, and it's like and working for how old is the company? It's like 500.
So, well, the company itself was founded in 1922, but the family that's assets it runs is 800 years.
800 years.
Yeah, so around 1,120 odd.
Why was it important for the Shimazu family to have that sort of international appeal back then?
So, I mean, just because of the location of Kagoshima, because we're right in the very south of Japan, when foreign ships come to Japan from other countries, they tend to go, for example, from Europe, they'd go around Africa, around India, through Asia, up the coast of China. The first place they would come to is Kagoshima in Japan, come up from the south.
Is that why we were the first place to get guns?
Yeah, first place to get guns.
Portuguese.
Portuguese, yeah.
First place to trade with many nations as well. So
And then
Kagoshima was a hub.
Also, Kagoshima continued to trade with foreign countries after the Sakoku?
Sakoku, yeah.
The isolation period.
Yeah, totally ignored that.
Yeah, they were like, screw you guys, we're going to do whatever we want.
Whatever we like.
Secretly, right?
Secretly, yeah. For those who are watching this, because this is only on YouTube, it's not going to be the audio podcast this time. But what season do you recommend coming to Sengan-en?
Well, I guess like spring is obviously the main season when people come.
The flowers,
the cherry blossoms and things like that. Autumn also for the autumn leaves. Personally, I like kind of May.
Yeah, why?
Because it's not too hot. And also the new greenery, Shinryoku it's called in Japanese, is all out, so it looks very verdant and green. And if you come about a week after Golden Week, the Japanese holidays, it's empty. Because all the Japanese tourists have finished traveling. Another good time is February.
Okay.
Because it's like kind of not too cold. And, the kind of climate in Kagoshima isn't, super freezing or anything like that. So it's a good time to go out and do some outdoor activities like hiking. It might be too hot to do that in summer. So
in the not quite winter, but kind of right before the winter, I think is the best time to see red Sakurajima on the sunset when it sunsets. I think it's a good time to see that.
Yeah.
And if you ever come to Kagoshima, seeing red Sakurajima, the sunset Sakurajima, is one of the most beautiful things we have here.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So right now, when this goes on air, you guys will be opened again, and I think when tourism picks up again later on this year. Do you expect to see a lot more foreign visitors?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's going to take time for people to start coming back all the way over to Japan.
Yeah.
But, when they do, I'm pretty certain they're going to start coming down to the regions a lot more.
Yeah.
And Kagoshima, it's right on the end of the Shinkansen. It's one flight away from Tokyo.
Yeah.
We've got direct flights from Hong Kong.
Shinkansen is the bullet train.
Yeah, all over the place. So it's very, very accessible, very easy to get to.
We have direct flight from Narita to Kagoshima.
Yeah.
And it's very cheap.
Yeah, Narita is better than there's Narita and then there's Haneda, but if you guys travel here, I'd definitely go with the Haneda option because Narita is a nightmare.
Yeah.
No one likes Narita.
Much more flexible for times as well.
Yeah.
But, and then it's just like getting the word out there about how great a place it is.
And the weird thing about if you guys are Westerners and listening to us, one of the weird things about Sengan and basic Japanese like beautiful historical sites, they're freaking cheap.
Yeah,
they're stupid cheap.
Yeah,
like you guys have an annual pass for like less than $20.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
like you go to a place like that in Europe or in America, like just to get in one time is like $35.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
So it's something that the Japanese kind of tourism industry needs to think about a little bit because it's always been about group tourism here and kind of discounting and things like that.
Yeah.
And they really need to think about preservation of heritage a bit more. And that's what we're trying to do. We are trying to do that. So, more people coming from abroad with that kind of mentality would really help us, do that as well.
Sorry, go ahead.
I like a green tea ceremony as
Oh, nice.
Sengan-en.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can make your own matcha green
Yeah.
tea, and then you can also eat delicious, sweet things with matcha.
I was
really-
I was just about to say that. Can you talk about acacia and traditional Japanese sweets?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like Akashiya's, one of the most famous sweet makers in Japan, I suppose. This region is where they're based. They made karukan, which is like a really famous sweet all across Japan.
It's like a white, spongy, fluffy like
Like
delicacy.
steamed cake almost,
Yeah.
I guess. And the kind of guy who made that was invited down from Edo, which was the capital city then, to Kagoshima by the feudal lord of the Shimazu clan to invent kind of new preserved foods and sweets as well. And one of the things he came up with was karukan. And it was unusual because it was white. Like most sweets then weren't bright white in color.
Yeah.
So it's very, very unusual to have something like that.
Yeah, because we take it for granted now, but actually the color white was not a thing that
No.
you could really make back in the day.
Not at all, no.
Yeah, so
So, Akashiya is still going, hundreds of years later,
Yeah.
and it's, still making great sweets and things like that. You can enjoy them with the tea at our place,
I mean, when I've been there before, and there's nothing feels more Japanese than being in the Acacia green tea house restaurant and then having your Japanese sweet with your Japanese green tea, and then next to there's this beautiful garden behind a window.
Yeah.
It's just pristine looking, and you just sit there at this giant wood table, and you just feel like I'm in Japan.
I think was it CNN or National Geographic, one of the two, said it was one of the best places to
It was
have tea in
National
the world.
Nat Geo.
Nat Geo, yeah. So, if they say it, then I'll take that. Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been our show for today. If you guys enjoyed this style of show, going on location and having videos inserted and things like that, let us know in the comments. Also, if you have any questions about Sengan-en and you want Alex to answer on a future show, let us know. If you enjoyed us, again, hit that like button, subscribe. Please subscribe, you guys. I think our viewers, only like 15% of you guys subscribe to our channel.
What?
Yeah. So guys, subscribe and
Subscribe.
hit the little bell so you get a notification when we drop a video, because usually when we drop a video, we're around for it. So if you guys want to talk to us and leave comments, we can have a little back and forth, be part of the notification squad. We'd really appreciate that. Natsuki, you gotta close this episode.
チャンネル登録してね
In Japanese, please subscribe. All right, guys. See you guys next week.
Bye.
はーい